collectors in disguise. Children of Primus, collectors in disguise. Children of Primus, collectors in disguise. Children of Primus. Children of Primus.
And here we go.
Here we
Even though
go.
our faces are not there, it's just the logo. But that's okay. Presumably the public can hear us.
They can hear us as we are.
Loki's Bruticus has a tramp
There we
stamp
go.
for the Decepticons.
Wait, who is that?
The
Oh,
Loki's
Bruticus.
Bruticus adds a Decepticon emblem, in a tramp stamp spot.
There's the Masterpiece Megatron, the second one they did a toy deco version of him, and infamously, if you looked at him from the back, he had two Decepticon logos, one on each cheek, just because of how his transformation worked.
That's
Completely unintentionally, just where they were in the gun versus where they were in the robot mode.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if Vortex has a Decepticon. I think this Vortex doesn't have a Decepticon emblem on him.
It's not allowed.
I know Blast Off does. I gotta take his gun out of his. Yeah, there.
Much of my collection is these days is the tiny little cyber world guys themselves, because they're affordable and nifty.
Yeah, I see
Here's
Swindle has one on his hood.
Do this.
Yep.
So Mario says, hi again, guys, and welcome again, Mario. And Torwarp says, about $2,000. So he knows where we're going with that.
Yeah. I would love to read the rest of that book that article is from, because like I said, it's about the fandom in the 90s specifically. Like there's another excerpt on James Roberts' Medium that's about alt.toys.transformers, which was the first online Transformers group, and what that was like and how that started.
Okay.
But yeah, it's self-published. You gotta get it shipped to you from the UK if you want it. I'm like, it's a little challenging for a book. Maybe somebody at TF Nation can hook me up because that's when that happens in the summer. I don't know. I wasn't quite around for that because like I was online in the 90s, but I wasn't online enough to be in like fan groups and stuff. I was mostly just like reading web pages instead of being on forums.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it's more in recent years where it's like just really getting more into community stuff, even though the communities existed, like the bulletin board type of communities, where that's slowly phasing out in some communities, but others it's still a strong thing. Like they held on to that as opposed to shifting over to the Facebook groups and everything else.
This
Whereas
is why
like
I'm on Discord so much these days, because that's where a lot of these spaces went.
yeah. Whereas like I've seen it for like in the IT world, initially the forums were great for exchanging and exchanging information, ideas, and promoting businesses. Those have like drastically dropped. Whereas like a good topic, every time you refresh the screen, like there'd just be like 50 replies, and then refresh the screen, here's another 50 replies. Now one reply like for like a day, it's completely dropped off.
Oh yeah,
I remember when you had sites like Gia Online before like Facebook and MySpace were created, and it's still around. At least a winter or two ago, I happened to check and see if it's still around. It was, and I logged in for a bit. And I mean, they even popped up like in some major publications, being like one of the best social platforms before Facebook and whatnot.
Okay.
MySpace.
Yeah. my like online journey was like, okay, so in the 90s I would just read like fan sites and things. I'd read written reviews, which is why I write them these days, because that was a big part of my online interaction. Then I fell out of the fandom, and then when I came back in 2007, I got on forums. Like, I was never on TFW, but I was on TF Formers, and I was on the Allspark. And then when the Allspark forums were down at one point, they were like, "Hey, everybody, you can go check out our Discord if you want." And then I got on there, and then that's how I got into that space over forums.
Okay.
Yeah, I
There was
always
a notorious bit of internet drama when the Allspark forums like fell apart because of their like association with BotCon. It was a whole thing, and so the Transformers Wiki started its own Discord server, and most of the Allspark people moved over there. So that was my big online space for a long time.
Okay.
It was complicated, internet drama can be like that sometimes.
Yes. Now, speaking of complicated, Mario is, you know, uh, Mario's waiting for us to hit our main topic, and I know from last week, yourself and Mr. O were speaking on this Skybound issue 30. Realizing that in a lot of the groups in Reddit and a lot of places, that issue has just taken the fans all over the place, and I would say in a one sense, it's taken the fans where a lot of them were complaining about the MCU in the last few years, where it's like, well, then every popular movie or franchise within or concept within the MCU has all directed towards females and away from the males. And a lot of people are like, well, now the Transformers comics are doing that, where it's like, well, then all the male characters are kind of get sidelined because now we've got a female character leading. Whereas other people are just like, well, let's just see where this goes. Like, it's just a comic book. Like, we're not going to take it that seriously.
Well, first of all, it's on Reddit.
internet.
There's your problem. That place is a cesspool for that type of person. But here, and I remember I thought this last week when we were talking about it. I didn't get time to really note it. There is absolutely zero chance that this status quo shift is going to be permanent, or even long. It might not even be very long lasting, right? I guarantee that eventually Optimus in these comics is going to get the Matrix back and become Optimus Prime again, and Elita's going to give it back, right? And the biggest reason behind this is even back in the days of early IDW comics, right, which was arguably when Transformers comics were the most experimental when it came from breaking from the status quo. We know from some of the writers that Hasbro would still be very hands-on about not letting certain things be permanent. Because in those comics, that's when the war ended and Optimus gave up the Matrix, gave up the name of Prime, said, I'm Orion Pax again. I'm leaving. I'm going to go on a trip because I can't be here if we're at peace because I symbolize war. And, it was a whole complicated political thing.
Right.
And so he leaves, and later on we would find out through interviews that they were like, we were only allowed to do this because we had to assure the Hasbro side of things that it was not going to be permanent, and eventually he would get it back and be Optimus again, and that is eventually what happened.
Yeah, basically it was that kind of status quo was only true from depth of the quote unquote death of Optimus Prime true Dark Cybertron crossover where like Shockwave, had his at least his original form as a senator, was kind of had that little story kind of come to end, and then then they did the Combiner Wars like era of IDW 1.0 after that, and it kind of
IDW was big on IDW is big on doing its events like Marvel and DC do, right? So, the end of that event, Optimus loses the Matrix and becomes Orion Pax. During the next event, he got it back and became Optimus. So it lasted exactly one event's worth of stuff,
Yeah, and I mean, granted, Combiner Wars, you had Optimus versus Galvatron, and then Megatron being, that's when you had Autobot Megatron with, Rodimus and Ultra Magnus on the Lost Light. So I mean, they played around. They had more freedom with the bad guys to experiment. Because I mean, you finally get to see like Optimus dealing with a G1 style Galvatron for one. So I mean, you still had some experimentation going on, but definitely,
So,
Optimus. They definitely returned to that status quo.
yeah. So, like, before all else, before any of the weird, dumb, chudly internet opinions, I'm like, guys, it's not going to be permanent. They're going to put it back eventually.
Well, it's like Spider-Man Clone Saga. I remember I got into Spider-Man comics like shortly before that, when the first time they tried to kill Aunt May.
Yeah.
At least in the 90s.
It's like, remember when Bruce Wayne
the
died
death of
and Grayson became Batman? That didn't
Azrael
last.
Batman, Death of Superman, all that stuff in the 90s. It's like, come on, is this
It's Death
anything
of
special?
Superman.
Like, every X-Men character's been killed at least once,
At least 5 times. How long of a run is the current writer for the comic books right now?
Kirkman hasn't said anything about leaving. It was actually kind of unusual that Daniel Warren Johnson was like, from an early point, was like, I'm doing 24 issues, then I'm out. That's what I'm saying. Kirkman on the letters pages has been like, I have so many ideas, I can go forever. I'm not quitting anytime soon.
Well, because I'm just thinking in terms of the G1 comic books. How many issues was Optimus basically missing?
That's a good point, because that was the Wild West. This was before they were less hands-on back then. So the answer is they killed him because he died in the movie. So I guess a couple years, because between the movie and then when he got a Power Master toy, they brought him back because they're like, we got to sell that.
Yeah. Yeah, so the majority of the run, like he was not in the comics.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna look that up real quick, because the wiki will definitely have explained when these issues were.
Yeah, because essentially it's just when he died in the video game and comes back, whatever those 2 issue numbers are, that's quite a significant amount.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to track how long it was in real life in IDW also.
Interesting.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so there's his death in... I'll put this on screen as I hunt.
Okay.
So, there's his death in After Death, and that's Marvel US number 24. And so that came out October 1986, October 14th. Okay, and 86. So that's the movie year. He literally died because he died in the movie. He was like brand synergy. So that's October 86. That's near the end of 86 also. And so then he comes back as a Power Master. Okay, so he first reappears in Pretender to the Throne. Optimus Prime.
I know that would be kind of closer into either the late 40s or the early 50s.
Yeah. So, Pretender to the Throne, which is where they reveal he's still alive in in a floppy disk, is comes out January 1988, and that's issue number 40.
Ooh, okay.
86, October 86, October 87, November, December, January. So that's actually barely a year he was gone. That's 13 months.
Okay. And now...
wait, no. 12, no, sorry. October, November, December, January. October to October is 12 months. 15 months he's gone.
and now the issue where he comes back as the Power Master.
Yeah, so that would be the next issue, totaled. ship to Nebula, so in place with the technology to build Optimus Prime. Oh, there he is. Okay, so it took them 2 issues to bring him back to life. So, April 1988. October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So yeah, 18 months between death and resurrection.
Wow.
So it wasn't that long.
No, I guess back then as a kid, because you're getting the issue like month after month, but it's
Yeah.
it did seem like a long time frame for just everyone else to be leading the Autobots before Optimus like comes back again.
Yeah. So he was literally out of commission for a year and a half, in real life time.
Wow.
Now let's go over to let me see if I can figure out IDW. Optimus Prime, IDW. This is going to be a long freaking article. Also, they're going chronologically here instead of issue release, so I gotta search around a little bit. Okay, so Prime Woke in a barren wasteland. The death of Optimus Prime. That was when he gave up the Matrix.
Okay.
All right, so oh, is it still? What's showing up on screen? It's not showing my stuff. It hasn't caught up yet to where I am.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah,
And it's showing a.
oh, you know why? It's showing a different window. Never mind. Let me just. I'll fix that. There we go. Okay, so the death of Optimus Prime, first published December 21st, 2011. Well, right before Christmas.
Wow.
Okay, so December 21st, 2011. I'm just going to jot that down really quick because I feel like I'll forget this one.
Yep, I've got it written down too.
11. Yeah. So he came back during... Now, he was still a character, right? Much like now. He was just Orion Pax instead of Optimus Prime. This is all the stuff he did as Orion. Oh, yeah, there we go. My name is Optimus Prime. Literally the point where he said that's who he was. And this was from Robots in Disguise number 26, Dark Cybertron chapter 9. It was an event. It's complicated, right? Everything had
Okay.
like 2 numbers. And this was published in February of 2014. February 2014. Okay, so this was a bit longer.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go December 2011, December 2012, December 2013, January, February. A little bit longer, so just over 2 years. Because, 2 years would be December 2013, and then it switches over to January, February. So 26 months, a year and 2 months, 2 years, 2 months.
That's a longer run for them to not have
Yeah.
Optimus.
Yeah, but not that much longer. 18 months for Marvel, and then 19, 20, 22, 24, 25, 26. Just 8 more months, and then that's how long he was out of commission in IDW. So, anybody reading Skybound right now, if it lasts longer than 2 years, then it will have been the longest he was out of commission, but I don't think it'll go that long. He's in the most recent G.I. Joe issue, which I have not picked up yet because I wasn't able to get over there today, where the
They aren't both Duke and him on the cover.
Yeah, the cover lied, by the way. That's Skybound, much like other Robert Kirkman stuff, is all about gimmicks, right? Because the solicitations were like, Duke finally meets Optimus Prime, and the cover shows Duke and traditional Optimus Prime. And then in the actual issue, he's meeting that guy down in the corner face to face instead, the new, powered down Optimus.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I'm familiar with this guy's work. He always pulls stunts like that.
Okay.
Yeah. The biggest stunt that... Remember, they didn't even announce that they were doing Transformers until after Void Rivals #1 came out and they dug up Jetfire. It was a surprise launch, right?
And they stopped doing The Walking Dead very suddenly too. So I mean,
Yeah, I was about to mention that.
that's what he's most
Walking
known.
The Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman's other book, it's surprise ended. Uh, I won't spoil what happened, but an issue happens and a big shocking thing happens, and at the end they're like, "Okay, next issue is actually the end of the whole series." And everybody was like, "Wait, what?" And he pulled that off because there were covers and solicitations for future issues that were fake and were never intended to come out.
Oh, nice.
So they're like, "Oh, nope, nope, the series is ending next issue," and then
Oh no.
yeah, so that's the other. That's the
Oh,
other
you,
thing.
you,
Robert
you
Kirkman.
froze there for a second.
Yeah, I know. So did you. So I waited a second.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Robert Kirkman loves a good publicity stunt. So if it gets the people talking, then then it's working as intended, which is exactly what's happening here.
Hmm. Impactor says, "Hey guys, heading off to bed, but before I go, I've been looking through the Children of Primus shorts, and I found a video to do, and this video is the third episode from G1 with Prime falling and with Prime falling and all by. But I know which one he's talking about.
Is he talking about when he's in truck mode? And he's just like,
Actually, it's between that or the other one. Where it's like he's fighting Megatron, and I think Megatron shoots him, but then it's an incorrect voiceover for when Optimus is flying across the room.
hmm I the thing with Optimus's truck rolling over, it was discovered recently that that's a meme in Japan because the Japanese dub of the series, Optimus Prime's voice actor gave like a really long protracted scream when the truck was falling down, and people thought it was really funny. And I watched the Japanese dub of that episode. It's true. He's like, whoa. And it's just like there's this whole other set of fandom on the other side of the world we don't even know about. Where that was a meme just because it was a funny line in that version of the show.
Impactor says, "I'm planning to fall."
Well, I hope you're also planning to be able to get up again. Otherwise, we got to call medic alert or whatever it was.
That's it. I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah.
Well, what else do we want to say about about the recent shift in the comics before we jump into our other topic?
I'm just interested in seeing where it goes. Like, this didn't come out of nowhere. The problem between the two of them has been simmering ever since Daniel Warren Johnson's run. With her perspective being like left behind on Cybertron, the world's torn apart, everybody's dying. He left to go to Earth, disappeared for millennia, and still doesn't want to come back home. Her perspective is if we don't end the war on Cybertron, this whole thing on Earth is pointless. Whereas his thing is Earth's going to get taken over if we leave. And yeah, I'm just interested in seeing where it goes because it's something new and interesting. And the people who are like, I don't know, man. There's already very few like well-written female characters in Transformers, so I'm like, let's do something with this.
Yeah.
I don't understand that perspective personally.
Well, yeah, it's funny. There was one Reddit discussion. Actually, maybe
There's a
about
problem.
yeah, that's yeah, just one.
Yeah.
Like about 2 months ago, and it was based on someone's fan art where they drew a female Transformers, and I think how they worded it was like the females of Transformers, and within the discussion, some people were saying, well, no, these certain females existed, and I think I jumped in saying, well, technically the first female within the franchise would have been Carly, and over RC and Elita 1, but then someone else was saying, well, then technically RC existed in the writing, but the movie never came out, so RC is kind of like second to Elita. So there's all these different things that are valid and made sense, but in terms of the person's picture, they're showing like all of these female Transformer related characters, but these are all later in the franchise. So I'm like, well, okay, if all of these came out in the 90s and 2000s, we had female characters in the 80s. So technically, they're the first run of females in the entire franchise.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking of how in Japan, how Air Razor they didn't realize where they were going to go with Tigatron and Air Razor, and then in Japan it's two guys. He was like Air Razor in Japan was sort of like his apprentice. So it's like, oh, so it's the unintentional first gay relationship in Transformers.
Yeah, first gay couple happened by accident in Japan because they dubbed Air Razor into a male character in Beast Wars, and then later on her and Tigatron have a romance. They didn't know that was going to happen in Japan, and they were like, well, I guess we're just going to lean into it. that milestone happened without them meaning to, and they were just like, okay.
Impactor says, I'm planning to voice Roller with all the beeps he makes as him saying, no, I'm not doing that again. Heck, I hate this by now. That's what I meant.
Sounds like you're doing kind of the equivalent of where they like give R2-D2 and Star Wars subtitles, and he's like, oh, the heck with this.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
The whole time.
It's barely even a joke. If you hear how the other characters that can understand him react sometimes, like, yeah, no, he's fully just being rude. That's not even subtext. That's text.
Mm-hmm.
I always like the idea that if he had a human voice, it would just be like Danny DeVito, basically.
Oh yes. Now let's bring up the other quote unquote star of this episode, but you know, of course, we have to have a lead in.
I like the one of Optimus just standing there looking unimpressed. He's not even making a gesture. He's just like, zero reaction. Damn, bro, you have the whole squad laughing.
That's it. So, once again with CBR, you know, another CBR moment, just writing for the sake of writing, which, you know, we make fun of.
I wonder, like, how popular and how much reach do these articles have? Because, like, from the perspective of these third-party companies, this would be a problem for them. Because, you know, they operate under the veneer of plausible deniability, where they're like, no, this isn't a Transformers character. This is our original creation, whatever fake name they made up for him. We've never even heard of Flywheels and Battletrap.
They just coincidentally have a passing resemblance. Wink, wink.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're trying to... that's exactly how they actually operate it. So if I were these third-party companies, I'd be like, don't write these about us. We got to keep it on the hush-hush.
You know, it goes right back to, it's like, look, there's Godzilla, but no, it's not actually Godzilla because we'll have a copyright strike. So it looks, there's something that looks like him.
That's exactly what they operate under. And again, this guy, Timothy Blake Donahue, I don't think he realizes that these are unofficial the way he talks about them here. Like I said, I think he thinks that third party means what it's supposed to mean and means these are licensed when they're not. And to be fair, if you're not in the fandom and you don't know, them calling them third party has always been incorrect, right? So from an outside perspective, I could see how he would have made that mistake, right?
Well, and you know what? Just from the first line in this article, clearly shows that he's not in the fandom. So I mean, the title is already a problem, saying a forgotten Transformer, Transformers G1 Decepticon. You know, not realizing that the characters they're referring to are not forgotten. But then in the first line, debuting back in the days of Generation 1, The Triple Changers are some of the most notable early Transformers duo, which he spelt incorrectly, to being able to turn into two different alt modes. Duocons and Triple Changers are two completely different animals. Like, they're not
Yeah. Well,
in the same realm.
yeah, well, he does say that in the next sentence. He's like, a much less well-known group of characters took this concept in a different direction, with one of them about to receive a new action figure. Flight Track, that's what they're calling him. An
Yeah.
upcoming toy from third-party developer Dr. Wu, with the figure based on a rather obscure G1 Decepticon. Dr. Wu's like, no, it's not. I don't know what you're talking about.
Although,
Intended to be in scale.
well, I was gonna say, if from how he started the article, really he should have more referred to combiners. Either combiners or the blasters and sound waves later cassettes that also combine, which is like two characters that combine into one, or reflector. So it's just funny how he leads with Triple Changers.
Yeah. A little interesting little bit of trivia. When Flywheels appeared in Marvel UK, they didn't understand how the gimmick worked, so he was written and drawn as though he was a triple changer.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like he fully just did the tank, jet, robot type thing, like triple changing.
Okay. Now let's see. Let's go down a bit more in the article. Well, it's not a big article, surprisingly.
An update of Generation 1 Flywheels. Yeah, I mean, are they obscure? I feel like they weren't in the cartoon, and I think they were only in the UK comics and not the Western ones, so...
Yeah, I don't recall them being in the comics, at least not in the Western ones.
Yeah. Oh, and they're doing him in the colors of the Slam Dance update also.
Yes.
That they did in Siege. That's a clever repaint as far as these things go. Like, to me, the big misconception here is, first of all, the idea that he's that obscure, and second of all, the fact that he's some sort of official thing.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to mention that version at all in the article? Because I'd like to see how they try to explain that.
It's funny you asked that, but let's go through the rest of the article, because there is something that answers that question.
So, in the case of Flight Track, he's combined to a robot that's far less blocky and stiff. This toy retains the original's murder and brown colors. It's not the case. The upcoming release is a red and blue take on the same mold, with this meant to represent a heroic version of Flywheels. In particular, it's inspired by the reversed Shattered Glass universe, wherein the Autobots are evil and the Decepticons are good guys. Is that... Hold on, let me Google something real quick. Skytread. Wait, what? The wiki doesn't even mention that there's a Shattered Glass version of him. That's not who that is. That's supposed to be, that's when they repainted the figure into Slam Dance for Siege.
Wow. Well, as you're finding that, Impactor says a AI-generated bro is bad at his Transformers history. Skytread got a new figures, and Battle Bash and Rollback, if I'm correct, also got new figures.
Yeah, that's true too. Like, this isn't
And
the first
Power
time they came out during
Prime
Siege.
for crap, and then Siege for Flywheel Skydread. So
Yeah, so where is he getting the idea that it's from the Shattered Glass universe? Because I just Googled, like, Shattered Glass Flywheels and Shattered Glass Skytread, and I got nothing on that.
Well, let's see.
I think that's fully just... I think that's fully just a made-up piece of information. Where does that link go? The one that says the reversed Shattered Glass universe?
Well, let's see. Well, actually, just before I show you that link, to answer your question, further down in the In the article, someone replies,
Yeah, funny how the writer completely ignores the Siege Fall of Cybertron release. Yeah, he had a new figure in the interim.
so
I reviewed it back in the day. It was a good one, too.
who writes this? So to answer your question, so the reverse shattered glass universe. Now, when we go over to that link, and there we go.
Optimus Prime's darkest successor returns in new secret Transformers release. Oh, Yellow Park. Okay, so see, this is a legitimate third-party thing. These are often obscure chase figures that are hard to come by. Shattered Glass Rodimus and Blue Streak were formerly produced to variable 1 in a million blind box options, but still on every case. Now available to pre-order as a 2-pack. Fans can get their hands once and for all on the Generation 1 Datsun Brother and Evil Autobot Leader. Supplies aren't expected to last long. What a strange article. I mean, okay, good that they're easier to find. And I say the Instagram thing is just not working.
Yeah.
And that's where that link goes, because that's not. It doesn't really illuminate what Shattered Glass Universe is.
I think it was just a link for the sake of linking.
Yeah, to be fair, listen,
You
I
weren't
write
supposed
stuff.
to check the link. You weren't supposed to check their so-called their sources.
Listen, I got to do
You're
SEO
just
stuff in
supposed
my
to take
job
it
too.
as-
I understand putting
I-
in links,
you know,
but generally you
just
try to make
trust
them
me, bro.
relevant.
Yeah. The Impactor says, I call Cap on Bro and personally think Bro is missing info and is a liar. Out of the 10 stars, wait, no, 1 out of -1 stars for this dude's article.
I look. I have a degree of sympathy here. It's like you got to put something out. This guy obviously isn't the most knowledgeable and is just trying to research it, but is an outsider, and then all this weird stuff happens because of that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, and coming from you, from being a talented writer, and all of us having our talents our talents are natural. We've inherited them, we've learned them, and then when someone else comes along and does something where we're like, where are you going with this? What is your source? Why? Just multiple whys. It's you begin to question it, and it's funny. And I know I've mentioned many times where we're going to have an AI episode. And there's a couple Facebook groups, and it's unfortunate. One of them was like an old, I think it was called Vintage Toronto. And what was cool with it is in the group, people would post older pictures of Toronto. So you'll see Yonge Street in the 50s or 60s or even the late 1800s and just various parts of the city. Someone recently posted, here's the opening day of Wilson Station. And I'm looking at the picture and I'm like, okay, here's a few problems with this picture. One, the subway station sitting within the suburbs, that never happened. There's a streetcar and a bunch of streetcar tracks sitting beside this station. This also did not happen because I grew up near this station, and everything that is in this picture did not happen in the 60s. So I'm like, that's an AI generated image. And I think a day later, the same thing happened where someone posted a opening day of the CNE. Everyone called it out. I'm like, those are not the gates of the picture. Again, there's these streetcar tracks. Those did not exist on those gates in this picture. And so it's just like a lot of people started complaining, like, we're the admins of these groups. Like, these are fake pictures. And so it's like, where's the admin of CBR? These are bad articles.
Yeah, I saw something similar for the ruins of Malta.
No.
The island in the Mediterranean recently, and it's like half of the videos, like the shorts on YouTube about Malta, it's like AI stuff, and people's like, that's not even video, photos of that location. It's like either AR or AI, or you're just using, or you just, misspelled the name, and you're got pictures of some other place somewhere else.
Wow.
I do I do wonder if maybe this guy has to have a certain amount of articles published, and so this is just him going like, I gotta write about something. Time to write about third-party figures. Um, I'm inclined to be sympathetic as a content writer myself. That's all, you know.
Yeah, but your content, you put in the facts, the history, like your content's solid as opposed to, which I mean, for a while we didn't do any CBR articles because the odd time I would check in and they did have someone who his articles actually seemed to be pretty genuine and know what he was talking about. So I'm like, okay, well, we can't razz this article because this looks legit and it's making sense. But then, now we come back to whoever this person is just let's throw together a bunch of words, or he might even be using AI and just calling it an article. And we're like, yeah, no, and just no.
Yeah, I always like the CBR, like on Facebook, the comment of, where's the comics?
Oh, wow.
Whenever they write articles about toys and video games and not, anything but comics. And it's just like, you always have somebody that makes that comment, if not more.
The impactor saying stop motion words and some images are the only thing AI have trouble with trying to make, so I'm safe for now.
I know when you said we need to do an AI episode, you meant an episode on AI, where I'm like, an AI episode where we suddenly have too many fingers and teeth and speak nonsense. Yeah.
Yep, the six finger hands.
Holding up a transformer that's never existed.
Oh, there was one, and I think hopefully I saved it. I know myself and RJ Eagle called it out in one of the Transformers groups. And that's another thing when people are like, "Oh, look, I found a picture from the attic," or here's me and my Transformers back in the '80s, and in the picture it's like, well, hold on. Okay, here's a little kid. Here's like, the old wooden TV set that all of us had back in the 80s, but they're holding an Optimus Prime that came out like 5 years ago. And beside them is like a Siege Megatron and a couple other things. And I'm like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah. So it's a worse version of when Stranger Things had an Ultra Magnus figure that was motorized, and also it was 1985.
Yeah.
Although I think Toy Warp had looked into that when yeah, whereas like they actually made it for like that's a one of a kind that existed for the show.
Yeah. Everybody was like, you couldn't get an Omega Supreme. It was out that year and it was also motorized.
Yeah, so they put all that work and effort into Ultra Magnus.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody could have lent you one of theirs, and then they would be like, "This was screen used."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be a scene where they make it look like Eleven is using her telekinesis to control a bunch of stuff. So they didn't even necessarily even have to rig it. They could have just, make it rigged to not look like it was, a motorized toy. I mean, it would have looked the part for the scene because, like I said, she's telekinetic, so
There was
she could have wired it or something.
There was a Star Trek Enterprise, the 2000s show. There was a whole arc in the final season where they wound up on like the bridge of a 60s Enterprise class starship. And I found out later that had actually been like a fan created set, like that they did for some other thing.
Nice.
And they let the show use it because they got to say, now we get to say all of our stuff was screen used, so it's more valuable. So we'll just rent this out for you to shoot this part of the show on.
Nice. And you know what? Before we round out our CBR segment, I'm just looking to see if there's any more questionable articles.
Oh, I'm sure there are. I mean,
Yeah, I got some homework for Fear and Courage since I will say I have seen at least one. Well, for one IP, like there's a current ongoing anime this season called the Darwin Incident, and the weekly episode, post episode, little Reddits have actually been decent, like polite and civil, and actually intellectually engaging and not filled with spoilers, because they say don't talk about any plot points that haven't happened in the anime yet, but because obviously the manga is further along. And I've been surprised. I actually haven't been enjoying reading those Reddit posts, forums, like after every episode every Tuesday. That's about the one time. That's the first time I've ever seen Reddit be civil
Oh, I don't.
and not
engage
make me
with
feel like
stuff.
I'm going dead.
I read the issues and I'll talk about them on a Discord group that I'm on or on here, and that's about it. I don't engage with that kind of fandom.
Yeah, that's a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not. Don't
different-
get me wrong. I'm still not going to make a Reddit account for myself. But I've been surprised. I've been pleasantly surprised when I just Google, each episode, because it's not as big of a show as, let's say, like Free Ren, which has its second season going on right now, which is like the other show I've been watching every week. So. I think it has 2 more episodes, so the 12th and the 13th.
Yeah. I wonder when the next Cyber World comes out. Just unrelatedly, because I've been watching the
How
heck out
many
of that show.
episodes
They don't
did
seem
it? Is it up to now? Do you recall?
Oh, I know what I'm watching.
Oh,
later. I just checked. Episode 25 just came out 1 day ago.
Yeah, I need to get caught up on. Yeah, I know on my watch later on YouTube, I've been having Cyber World, and then on my watch later, whatever episode was the one after the last episode I had watched most recently, and then I had the recent most one of the Japanese metal bands I listened to, Hanabi, and I finally listened to their newest song from, I think it says 2 months ago. It might be more than 2 months, but it hasn't. You know how YouTube, once you get past X amount of days, it just says 1 month. Then once you hit 2 months, it says 2 months, 3. So it's probably 2 months and some change. And I finally listened to that song. What's the song? Iconic. Finally, yesterday, and it's been stuck in my head. So, and I've been going back and listening to their songs, just because you get a new song, you hear a new song by a musician group, a band, and it kind of changes up. Okay, what songs do I like the best now?
Oh, good
This
God.
new one that kind of.
The friggin' Patriot Eagle transformer.
Oh yeah.
I'm shocked that they're gonna listen.
America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people are like, this is the
I'm not
worst
gonna
time
sing the rest
to
of that
release
song.
something like this. Some people are gonna want that because that's what, look. You see Blue Bolts here.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Bolts looked sort of like that, but after this, because they upgrade from this into a blue version of the Air Razor tooling, and it's not quite in those colors, and it's not quite that sculpt as this America figure, but it's pretty close. So there's definitely people that are going to get that because they want Blue Bolts' upgraded form. Me, I'm like, nah. Is that even going to come out in Canada? They're going to try to sell that in places other than America.
That's funny, especially with the political climate right now. That would be a hard sell.
You know what they should do? Regional color variants. Do a white and red one for Canada.
Well, that's exactly it.
And then every country in Europe gets its own repaint.
And just have all of them
Still
like
be
just
illegal.
show up in like their
Speaking
own
of stuff being
secret
red
wars.
and white,
Yeah.
you know how like the more than meets the eye target subline, like how the boxes for the newer releases of these guys, which are the versions I got, how the art's in red and white, like Target's logo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you kind of got like Canadian. I think actually the boxes might be beside me. Actually, they are. Okay, Canadian Megatron.
Oh yeah, because they are like red and white on the cover of these boxes.
Oh, that is
So
funny.
they're already in
And then
Canada.
there's Canadian Optimus. Canadian Optimus.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
It works.
Flip this
You
insert
could have
around.
like "Oh Canada" playing in the background as you're advertising Canadian Megatron and Canadian Optimus.
Yeah, and like this should be out soon. I saw the football crossovers in GameStop like 2 days ago, so they're like, and they were announced at the same time as this, I think. So
Oh, actually, so as we take the CBR out of the screen,
God, where I even, I, I have no
Excuse me.
hatred in my heart for those guys. I believe that they're just trying to get content out there and are maybe not maybe they don't have the time or the talent to properly research it. So yeah, I'm ribbing them, but there's no hyperbole here. I'm not like, oh, they're terrible.
right?
It's all very quite silly.
But but if for those watching now or later, if you want to, read well-written reviews, then you go to childrenofprimus.com and you look in the reviews section for the blog bots,
Yeah.
and you will see well-written reviews.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to publicize this stuff soon. Supposedly they're doing like a couple of multi-packs of like some of the Kingdom Beast Wars guys again. Both to get them out there and also because it's an anniversary year. So like I reviewed every one of those guys as they came out on the website. So time for me to like re-up those and be like, hey, you want my opinions on everything that's in these multi-packs? Here's the things I wrote back when they first came out. So, look
Yeah,
forward
that's
to
a
that
weird
soon.
release because you figured Takara Tomy did those repaints of like really doing the really more cartoon accurate decos of them and the 2 packs,
Yeah,
resembling
really,
the old Japanese 2 packs from the 90s. So it's like
yeah. I'm really interested in
already
seeing
kind
what
of
that's going
had
to be
the
like.
premium releases already. Yeah, only thing I could think of, I mean, but then they don't have the number of figures for them. Like, I remember, yeah, because you had Leo Convoy and Tasmanian Kins, but then they don't have other characters that they could do because all the characters had a black copy of them in that Beast Wars second, but they don't have the 4 characters that they did figures unless they redo the, no, even if they redo the frog from the Naruto crossover to make into Diver. Maybe if they redid the recent Quintus Prime to be Scuba from Beast Wars second, because he looks like
I
a
don't think they're going to
squid.
do that. I think it's going to
Yeah,
be
they're not
the
going to do
TV show
that.
guys
But
from
yeah, it's going to
season
be the
1.
laziest thing.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, I'm. If anything's going to get me, it's going to be like when they do the Maximal pack, or there's going to be a Tigatron in there that won't yellow like the one I have, because he's one of my favorites. He just yellowed so badly, and I'm
That
like,
would be nice.
Wow,
supposedly they've solved those problems
Him,
now, right?
that is some
And this
yeah,
guy,
severe
him,
yellowing.
Cyclonus,
yeah,
and then the Netflix Megatrons and Soundwave. Those 4
yeah.
figures.
So supposedly this doesn't happen anymore because whatever happened during the pandemic that led to this problem in the materials, they apparently solved it. Um, so if they do a new version of him in this multi-pack, it won't have this happen to him. So that's something that I'd be interested in, obviously, right?
Although
Because
it's
go back to where.
weirdly interesting is the yellowing works on for that character, just because it's
Yeah.
like a leopard.
Yeah, well, they did like include a bit of like yellow paintwork like up here and stuff, but like, because that's what it that's what those white tigers look like. But like this stuff, that's not supposed to look like that.
No.
Neither is this stuff.
No.
And then a lot of that white plastic, you kind of had that pearlescent quality to it, so it's not. Even if you wanted to like paint over it yourself, it's you have to you would have to invest. It's not something you could buy a more cheaper, just flat white.
Yeah.
You would have to
Impactors
do a
say
lot more
my
custom work
my
to cover it
Cyclonus
up.
and Grimlock are still not yellowed, bro. Don't say that too
Very
loudly.
lucky. You're gonna
You know,
jinx it.
yeah. I've sold this story before. My Netflix Soundwave.
Oh yeah, the
That's one that
Beast
gets
Wars.
that's one that gets hit by yellowing, and I was like, I don't know what the problem is. Mine's never yellowed. Like a week later, it turned yellow.
Jeez.
You don't want to curse these things into existence.
No. So
And it
actually,
will, and even if you de-yellow it, it came back. I did it with all four of them. De-yellowed those four Pacific figures I mentioned, and I had the yellowing come back.
oh wow.
Oh, it came back, eh?
So I was like, yeah, yeah, doing
Well,
the
there
whole
you go. I guess now we know.
hydrogen peroxide
Long
blah blah
term.
blah.
That's something that most people don't mention. Where like they'll show like their little clips and or images of them, fixing that yellowing issue on their figures, but nobody ever mentions later on if it ever yellowed again.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then you got to consider if you're not like deep. So, I mean, obviously, some people go really hardcore and need deep in everything, and you got to consider you get rust on any of the pins if you don't deep pin it. So you get that to worry about. So you're treating one problem that's not even a permanent solution, and then you're causing permanent damage to all the metal pins because it starts to, they start to rust from being in the hydrogen peroxide for
Oh,
however
yeah.
long you have them.
Well, I think some they like strip the character completely, so they take out the pins, everything, to prevent the issue with the pins.
I don't even have the skills to take out pins, so like.
Yeah, I know
It's
I couldn't do it
possible.
right now. I still don't have the wrist strength. Because
Yeah,
I was putting this guy's knees joints in, and I was having the hardest time because the knees on this are very, very stiff compared to
like
the depth
I
of the
wouldn't even know how
stair.
to take out these like flat-headed screws that don't have a place for you to put a screwdriver in.
yeah, because those are all rivets. Like I'm not even sure if those actually I guess hold that one back up again. Because that's a
Yeah.
okay. So on that side, and then flip it over.
Yeah, they're just one way.
Oh, interesting. Yes, you can't even
Yeah.
put anything to push that pin out.
Yeah, that's a you're not meant to take it apart kind of thing. Like,
Right. Wow.
yeah, like when when I had to take apart Omega Prime, everybody's like, well, it's bad that the quality control thing even happened to it, but it's a good thing it was just like screws with regular screw heads, so everybody with a screwdriver could just pop it open. If they had opted to build it like this, we all would have been screwed.
Oh.
No pun intended, right?
Well, Impactor says
Soldering iron. And a super
soldering iron,
magnet.
super magnet.
Do I like a guy that has a soldering iron and a super magnet just lying around? If that second thing is even a real thing.
An earth strong
I
magnet
skip.
would not be able to pull that out. It's not designed to be pulled
Yeah,
out.
a soldering iron is something you do not want to just leave laying around. I had robotics class in summer school. I think I was in middle school, and I still got a little scar. You wouldn't be able to see it on the screen, but I'm looking at it. It's about where my fingernail is, and I can still tell where the blister popped because I left it. I didn't put it back in the sink, and I just laid my hand, and I was like, ah!
Well, that and a soldering iron and plastic toys are not friends, considering a soldering iron can
Yeah.
get up to over 100 degrees. So
Yeah, that melts metal. Yeah.
oh yeah, that would be burning plastic within a few seconds. So
Even that.
before we round out the evening, do you have Studio Series Deluxe Arachnid on hand?
Oh, I believe I do. In this bag right here. Just give me one moment. Where are you? Here we go. That I do. With her impressive large silhouette of spider limbs.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I forgot about doing 45 seconds, but you know what? I can wing it. Yeah. So this is one that I was already going to grab. Yeah, this is one I was already going to grab because I'm sort of completing the Transformers 1 cast, but she also happens to be one of the most ambitious deluxe figures I've ever handled. Really complicated transformation, but not so complicated that you can't figure it out. Tons of joints, tons of stuff you can do with the spider legs. She looks like she belongs to a different franchise from Transformers in a good way. It's a miracle that she can stand up on these tiny little spindle legs. Basically, this feels like the designers were like, we want to challenge ourselves engineering-wise, and somehow they pulled it off. Like, it's a good figure, but before that, I think it's worth experiencing just for the sheer ambition of the design behind it. So that alone makes it a worthwhile pickup for me. Also, the Transformers Prime figure of her was not very good, but this is a good version. So if you want the Transformers Prime character, you should get this too. And you can read more details on childrenofprimus.com in our bot reviews section. How long was that?
There you go. I didn't have my stopwatch, but you know what? When we turn it into
Yeah.
a short, we'll see exactly how long it was.
Yeah, and that was off the top of my head because I forgot to write one. You know what? That's what I would have written anyway. All writing is off the top of your head, really, at some point.
This is true.
Yeah, I remember you said that somebody was like getting mad that I reviewed Age of Extinction Optimus and started it by being like, "Oh, Age of Extinction was like the worst Transformers movie," and I was like, "I gotta be honest." I like in the intro to this, you can see it on the screen there. I was like, this is another one that the community really bigged up for me as an exceptional figure, just like Age of Extinction Optimus, only this one's from an actual good movie. And then the caption there I wrote, her incredibly strange, awkward laugh in this scene was better than 80% of Age of Extinction. So at this point, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm just having fun with that.
Well, and I mean, going back to writing, it's like, you start off with, I mean, it's just like an essay. Like you're building like your thesis and everything, the introductory into the main meat of the article. So,
Yeah.
I think many people are missing that's how things are supposed to be written, and they just want to kind of, skip the intro, jump right into the episode. And I'm like, well, that's not, that's that new way of doing things. Like, let's build into what's happening as
No.
someone's falling in the background of in the background TV of your screen.
Yeah. Yeah, but I that's the way I write. I'm a rambler. I'm a yapper. So that's what you're gonna get when I'm writing them.
There you go. Oh, it's wrestling. That's why the person fell.
Yep. That's what's up.
It's been a while for me.
So yeah,
Well-
read about that over on Children of Primus.
Cool. Well, I guess on that note, wait, Sedum, what do you have coming up for the week?
Oh shit. um,
Excellent timing.
not falling.
Perfect. 10 out of 10. No notes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's perfect.
Yeah, me and boxes and architecture stuff does not agree. So I'm hoping they start doing the fundraiser artwork. Otherwise, I think it's supposed to be sun's out, so maybe I'll start doing getting back to doing some toy photography. I know I have some different blokies now, and maybe I'll do that little Megatron and reference that Hanabi song, the Spicy Queen, where she's like spitting the fire, and just have the Megatron do the same thing, and then I know I got some mochi I need to use up for a photo shoot where I have the little gotcha toys of like bunnies making mochi the traditional way, where it's one person hammers the rice into taffy like paste, and then the other like kneads it, and I need to do that with that mochi. I mean, it's gonna be good for a while, but soon I need to do it before I forget about it, and then I'm like, oh, there goes that mochi I bought like half a year ago. So I got two big ones that are like refrigerated, and then two just room temperature with the silica gel little thing to keep the moisture out of the some smaller ones, so I need to do that. Then maybe go to new coffee shop and do this thing with these little coffee cats, where the black cats are made out of the coffee, and take those to the new coffee shop and do the food photography. And otherwise, I know I updated, like, to use anyone who uses like Instagram and used to use layout, they know how that got folded into Instagram proper, and it sucks. And I finally got around to downloading some like Instagram collage and video editing apps, and I think I went with Scroll, and I can't remember the other one I went with. There's three I was looking at, and I like two of them. So hopefully I'll get back to doing that and the collages and all that stuff, because that's how I would. A lot of those just odd and end photos of the stuff. So I was like, it's cool, but it maybe not be an interesting photo or drawing by itself. And maybe do some character drawing, because I know, was it a week or two ago I had the 2 T-shirts when we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used it as an example because my friend, it was my character, but her drawing.
Right.
So the carousel post where it will determine for you, so I don't have to figure out where does this image need to be cropped at for the next part of the post. You can just use the carousel option and have it do it for you, rather than having to figure it out yourself and be like, to the pixel does it line up. That is not fun to do manually, frame by frame. So hopefully I'll be getting back to posting more stuff, since the risk is getting into the last month where I'll be able to do heavy labor, much less more repetitive movement.
Okay, cool. And Fear, what say you for the upcoming week?
Well, this is week 1 of my 2-week writing cycle, so nothing yet, but I'm just starting my next review, which I think is probably going to be on another burst of Cyberworld figures, specifically the people I was messing around with here. Galvatron, Bumblebee, the controversial Elita one.
The boat.
I always do these in a group because they're simple enough that it's not really worth spending an entire review on one of them. And there's just enough that if you talk about a bunch of them, then, you know, that's enough. That's enough ink.
All right.
Had you messed with any other ones beforehand? Trying to remember. Or maybe
Yeah,
I was thinking of Angry Trev. Or both.
Yeah, no, I reviewed most of Wave 1 last year, and then Grimlock is his own separate thing, so...
Yeah, I remember you commenting on the Grimlock. The Grimlock. Yeah, I remember I bought the Snarl that looks like has the junky colors, and then that Chop Shop I'd looked at a few times.
Yeah.
And then I've been eyeballing that Elita, that boat Elita.
Yeah, Cyberworld Grimlock was on my top figures list last year because I really wound up liking this guy.
Well, it's just, it remembers that it's a toy, so you actually have little gimmicks and, you know, turning into like the mech suit and all, and then the spinning park, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And brackets so figures can ride him. Yeah, he does a lot of things. It's really interesting and fun. Yeah, and Wave 2 still hasn't shown up here. This was an extra little thing off of some other Amazon stuff. So it hasn't shown up on shelves yet, and I'm waiting still.
Yeah,
Cool.
you do. I'm guessing up there in Canada, you got like a minimum of so much to get like free shipping or something like that.
Yeah, so I threw in a Wave 2 figure, and I was like, all right, you know, I haven't seen them physically, but I'll just grab this one. But the rest of them haven't shown up locally, but, you know, like I said, they're nice, cheap little things, so... And they're from a show I like, so everybody wins.
There you go. All right. Well, so we will end our Teletran 2 segment. So I always thank you guys for hanging out with us on this Sunday evening, and thanks for everyone in the comments. And until next week, until all are one.
Mm-hmm. So,
We now return you to the Children of Primus.